Hello, welcome to Reclaim Within, where we explore what it means to live in alignment with life, to walk with intention, and to reclaim our wholeness in every step. Today, we are going to dive in to a phrase that I hear get talked about a lot in spiritual spaces. It's the phrase changing timelines. And it sounds so mystical, doesn't it? Like some kind of cosmic leap into a completely other dimension. Well, today I want to offer you something different, a grounded, embodied, deeply human perspective on what changing timelines actually means. And it isn't just energetic theory, it's actually lived choice. So let's go. We actually change timelines multiple times every single day, not through some quantum portal, but through the micro choices that we make in the ordinary moments of our life. Do I leave the house now or linger for one more sip of coffee? Do I speak the truth in this conversation or keep the peace and just stay silent? Do I stay in the relationship that drains me, or do I finally say no more? These little moments, they really, really matter. Each and every choice that you make in your day is a thread weaving the tapestry of your entire life, the timeline, the trajectory, and the path that you're on. The version of you who speaks up is on a completely different timeline or path than the version of you who swallows their truth. The version of you that says yes to a nourishing life lives in a completely different world than the one who keeps betraying themselves for others' approval. Timelines, they're not abstract. They're made of the choices that you make every single day. So when people say, I jumped timelines, what they actually mean, translation, is that they made a brave choice, the choice that scared them, the one that disrupted the comfort zone and shook the foundation of who they thought they had to be in this world, in that moment. And those choices really do change everything. They can change the course of your entire life, which is why it's really such a big deal and such a freaking cool concept to think about. Because they really don't just shift your circumstances. They actually are shifting your concept of who you are. It's the concept of yourself that shifts in making those choices. The moment that you choose to walk away from whatever it is that drains you, or to set a boundary, or to tell the truth, even when your voice trembles, you're not just changing your life, but you are changing who you believe yourself to be at the core. And that opens up so many different opportunities for you. That is a timeline shift. Not because the sky cracked open, but because you claimed agency and were courageous and chose to interact with life in a way that actually honored who you are in a different way. So at the core of timeline work is a shift in your relationship with yourself. When you begin to see yourself as someone who is worthy, valuable, someone who is capable, someone who doesn't need to settle, to betray themselves, or to abandon their own truth just to survive, that is when you begin to act like the person on that different timeline. Your choices, your moment to moment choices, will start to reflect your own inner knowing. The timeline where you had settled and sat in silence, that way of being in the world, how you would have shown up in the world in that way, will actually start to dissolve. And the timeline where you honor yourself fully, fiercely, daily, will completely start to emerge in your life. You don't need some sort of abstract out there portal. You are the portal. And making choices differently. The small things are the big things. I tell my clients this all of the time. They're like, oh, is there such a little thing? I'm like, do not dismiss yourself. Do not dismiss how big of a deal it is to speak up to someone in a way that you've never spoken up before, or to choose to have confidence in the way that you walk or the way that you interact, or to choose to ask to get your needs met in a way that feels honoring of you. Those little things are the big things. And they're what lead to a completely different way of being in this life. That's the changing timeline. Here's an important piece I feel like that's not talked about enough. Sometimes you're going to slide backwards. You'll make a brave choice, and then the next week, you're going to shrink again. You'll say yes when you actually meant no. You'll return to the old pattern because of the fact that that's what was familiar. But that doesn't actually mean that you failed. That just means that you're human. Changing timelines isn't a one and done moment. It's a commitment to moments over and over again that allow for you to weave yourself onto a different path. It's a daily devotion, a practice, a remembering, a coming home to yourself again and again and again. There is no done. It's who are the you that you are becoming, and how does that shift and evolve over time? And when you do start to really stand up for yourself in a different way, or ask for what you want, or go for a dream of yours, at first it's going to feel really scary potentially, or difficult, but eventually it'll just be the timeline that you're walking on. And it'll just become life. At the root of all of this is learning how to love yourself, like true self-love, not just baths and perfumes, but actually cultivating that inner relationship to yourself, of learning what nourishes you and saying no to what drains you, learning how to put boundaries up, because that's how you honor yourself, is through boundaries. It's remembering that your needs actually do matter, even if you haven't been given a map for how they do. Even if you didn't inherit great self-love practices, it's remembering that even though you didn't inherit that, that doesn't mean it's not real. That your voice does matter, and that your life that you're living is truly something so sacred and a gift that you have in this current time, space, dimension. Your greatest gift is this life that you've been given. And that is coming from somebody who didn't always feel that way. When you start to understand that you can change timelines, it gets exciting to be able to start to build a life from truth and not just from survival or fear. This is the real meaning of changing timelines. It's actually not about escaping your life. It's not some woo-woo out there concept. It's just about returning to yourself so fully that your life has no choice but to rise and meet you in the choices that you are making, to shift into who you want to be and the life that you want to live. And this is probably the most sacred work that anybody can do, because every time you learn to choose yourself, you show the universe what you're available for. You declare, not just with your words, but with action, that I am no longer available for cycles that harm me. I am no longer subscribing to the timeline of self-abandonment, self-betrayal, lack. It's choice. It all comes back to choice. Choosing to orient towards life, alignment, and love. And it might be hard at first. However, with each brave choice that you make, the world inside of you changes, and that echoes out. And the one outside of you then responds to that. This isn't a theory that I'm speaking about. It's true alchemy. And it lives in your body, in your breath, in your boundaries, Boundaries is a really big one. In your choices you're making every day, you're choosing to become. I hope this lands. That changing timelines, this woo-woo sounding concept is actually quite holy work. And it's not about winning a cosmic lottery. It's about choice and having courage to disrupt whatever it is in your life that is no longer serving you, which can be really scary, trust me. Whew. For reals. Very scary sometimes. That's why it takes a lot of courage to disrupt the status quo, to disrupt the patterns. It's the willingness to remember over and over who you truly are. And when you do, you don't just change your life, but you also end up then changing the world that you live in, which becomes this beautiful weaving tapestry of cultivation and co-creation and the path or the life or the world that you want to live in. So thank you for joining me today on this exploration of what it means to change a timeline. If this episode stirred something within you, I'd love to hear more about what timeline you feel like you're stepping into or what timeline you're maybe having trouble stepping out of. Share with me over on Instagram at Reclaim Within or my Substack. And let's walk these new paths together. Let's encourage each other to cultivate more courage. Encourage to cultivate more courage so that we can all shift and change onto the timelines that feel most aligned with who we want to be in the world and how you want to show up in the world. So until next time, honor yourself, trust the shifts. You are in choice. How can you be in choice? Even just that question, meditating on that one. Thank you so much. And a reminder that if you become a paid subscriber on my Substack, that you will be invited to the monthly calls that I'm going to start at the end of August. We're going to do a 90-minute call end of August, either Wednesday mornings or Friday mornings for 90 minutes. And the community will get to jump on together and we get to talk about this all together. So we'll get to talk about changing timelines. We'll get to talk about last week's episode, shadows, and we actually bring it up in conversation and get to weave together who we want to become and what timelines we want to jump on. So if you want to join, become a paid subscriber because I'll email you the Zoom link for the community to jump on together. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.